We are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports. We hope that you guys are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. Massive show in store for you here tonight. We have not done one of these in over a month. It used to be a staple of the show every single night, but I got to get back to something. Guys, I have to get back to something. This stuff with NIL is getting out of control. This SEC spring meetings is getting out of control. Quite frankly, we got to talk about this stuff that's being reported about Ross Dellinger and all the propaganda that's being pushed. I'm not saying, I'm not getting on the Ross, but there are just some things coming out of spring meetings. We cannot, as college football, baseball, basketball fans, anything that you love in college, we have to have a serious discussion about what's coming out of the spring meetings. Because I got to tell you, it is quite honestly pretty asinine if you ask me. Pretty asinine. So we'll talk about that here tonight. News out of Oregon. Guys, Oregon State, man, they are not healthy. They are not healthy. It was reported today that both of their starting pitchers, their number one, their ace, and their number two are out for the seasons. Trent Sellers, the third starter for the Oregon State Beavers, is the only remaining starter, and their coach, Mitch Canham, came out today and talked about we're just going to have to rely on our bullpen, and that there's no bigger priority than winning game one against Sam Houston State. Man, this regional, if you can just be yourself. You remember in the movie Aladdin when the genie said, Robin Williams was like, be yourself. You got to be yourself, man. You can win this regional. You're so set up so perfectly. We'll go out to Oregon, and we'll talk about that as well. First time on the show, we have a new guest going to be joining us. Sharief Ishaq from WDSU joins us at 7:30. Looking forward to having him on the show. Got to ask my man about Barry in Succession. Need to talk a little bit of Tulane. Need to talk a little bit of Saints and LSU. We talk about that with our friend Sharief Ishaq at 7:30. We'll give you a little bit of a recruiting update. Some things that I put in there, a couple players we talked about on this morning's message board. If you haven't done so already, go to AYSSnetwork.com, sign up for the forum. We threw in a pretty big nugget in there just on a lot of different players, man, a lot of different players and things that we're hearing, things that we are talking to some recruits about, and just kind of how we feel about what's going on in recruiting. We also go around your SEC. I might have a little treat there. Some things I'm hearing that I think LSU fans might love. So yeah. Stephen Fry, our good friends over at Fry Construction. They literally do it all. Site and work and land development, oil and gas services, commercial construction, aggregate and soil hauling, waste containers and demolition. They do it all. Give them a call today go see them today at 161 West Maple Street in Eunice, Louisiana, or give them a call at 337-457-5100. Let them know that Blake sent you on by. But he says, tell us the goods, Blake. I do think the biggest news that will come out of tonight's show is the simple nature that both of the best arms for the Beavs, Pound the Beaver, is out for the season. That is massive. Now, I mean, look, Sam Houston looks like to be the second best team in our regional. So something that we'll obviously keep an eye on as this weekend progresses. Father Abear says, holy smokes, when did this happen to their pitchers? Where apparently, per the article I read today from the Beaver Gazette, I think it was, but they lost both of them. Insanity. And I didn't say anything about it all day because I wanted to talk about it on the show. I wanted you to hear it here for the first time. Old Vet on YouTube, what's up, buddy? He said those beavers got poked too hard. Yeah, they couldn't build a dam fast enough to stop all the bleeding. Anyway, Roy Kent says, my favorite thing about having a 5-month-old twins is that whenever I do eventually get sleep, I'm going to really appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I feel you there. Old Vet says, I have 801. Y'all better get on the stick and don't threaten any poor beavers with it. Well, we got a late start on the Ruffino and Joe show. So, yeah. So, I'm a little late. That's on me. If you haven't done so already, go to the Ruffino and Joe show and subscribe there as well. Roy Kent says, as a living zombie, feeling pain is at least feeling something. Roy's on one tonight. Roy, you been smoking the Magic Dragon? You been in a little puff on the Magic Dragon? You hit some Pineapple Express? You okay over here, buddy? Jake Roberts says, what's happening, Blake? Section 120 Friday at 2:00. Awesome, man. Awesome. I love to hear it. Ed Reader says, Blake, who's pitching Friday for the Tigers? It hasn't been officially announced, but I just can't see a scenario where it's not Thatcher Hurd. I just can't. I can't foresee it not being Thatcher Hurd. Just can't, man. Just really can't. Let's see. What is that, Chris? What you mean? Roy Kent says, Roy's just tired. I'm glad to hear about some Tigers. Okay. All right, one more, then we'll get rolling. Chris A says, nothing like sitting around talking about beavers with the boys. It's true. Especially those hairy beavers. You know, the ones that don't trim down for the winter. Yeah, man. You gotta love them. It's like sleeping in a sleeping bag with fur. Let's get to commercial break. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share. Share to all of those social media groups. Share to all of those social media pages. If you're listening to us on YouTube, like, subscribe, and notification bell. We greatly appreciate you doing that. If you're listening to us on Twitter, hit that retweet. If you're listening to us wherever you listen to podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe there as well. If you're on the TuneIn app or you're joining us live on SiriusXM, we greatly appreciate you doing that. Sorry about our good friends, though, over at betonline.ag and our good friends over at GM Varno & Sons. Don't go anywhere. We got a lot to talk about. 2 best pitchers going down for Oregon State, and I am about to tee off. I'm so tired of hearing from these Rudy Poos in the SEC. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag. With over 65 years of experience, nobody is better equipped to service in your vehicle than GM Varnado & Sons. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. If you break down the side of the road in the greater Baton Rouge area, they will come and get you. And the best thing about that is that they can come and get you, and then they can bring your vehicle back to their shop and start the repairs right then. Again, GM Varnado & Sons. Go see them over at 2500 Fuller Boulevard. Give them a call at 225-664-9992. 225-664-9992. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino sent you on by. We're back. There are some thoughts that Ty Floyd could start Friday. Maybe. Maybe. I mean, sure. That could easily happen. I just don't think Jay would want to get out of his rhythm. Right? Like, I just don't think Jay would want to get out of his rhythm. Now, could I be wrong there? I will be perfectly okay if I'm wrong there. I'm not picking any side. I don't care really if Hurd starts or Floyd starts. I just think you need to go with Hurd, because then in a game 3 you can shut it down. That's just my opinion. I mean, and look, listen, it's exactly how Jay attacked it in Hoover. Are you going to try to convince me that you're going to waste Floyd's start on Tulane? Like, that's a big risk, man. That's a big risk. All right, a couple more, then we'll get rolling. Yes, Holden Lee says TJ McCants, he has hit the transfer portal. Listen, if you hadn't done so, you need to go over to ayssnetwork.com/shop. Get your Jay Johnson Portal King t-shirts. Oh, wow. I don't know if this is really news, but I just got sent this. Shannon Sharp's leaving Undisputed. He's getting paid out. He's getting bought out. Crazy. Cameron Carter says those two pitchers didn't pitch in the PAC tournament. They've probably been hurt for a while is what I'm thinking. Maybe so, Cameron. Maybe so. All right, I was waiting how long it was going to take for somebody to talk and ask about this. But Trey Patton says, what's the deal with these new AC helmets? I really don't know, other than they just got some AC in them. Like, I really don't know. I have no clue what's up with these AC helmets. All right, let's get this thing started. Let's get this thing rolling. Everybody do us a favor by hitting that like and share. So listen, it seems like every time that the conference in the SEC, which our LSU Tigers is a part of, every time that these 14 coaches get together, these head coaches, ADs, and presidents, there's always just some drama and BS that comes out of this. Now, if you hadn't been following closely over the last couple of days, obviously we've talked about Eli Drinkowitz and his absolutely Rudy Poo and chaotic things that he said over this past week. You had Nick Saban out there saying some really chaotic things, but there's nothing more chaotic than what some of these coaches are out here saying about NIL and the transfer portal. Now, I agree majority of the time with everybody, and I've said this on the show countless times. You can't really stop anybody from going anywhere, but the transfer portal is an issue more than NIL is. But Ross Dellinger of the Advocate, he's not with the Advocate anymore. Ross Dellinger with Sports Illustrated came out with a story, I think it was today, and said that he had started talking with a number of people, and this was the headline: we're all money laundering. Well, if that's the quote that Ross Dellinger got, just let me throw this little side note in here. If that is the quote that Ross Dellinger got, we're all money laundering in NIL, then quite frankly, Dellinger has a duty to the United States government and in his own country to report the federal crime. So you better be careful who you're getting quotes from if you're not willing to rat. We're all laundering money. Better be careful when you say something very crazy like that, especially, and I know it's me coming from a law background, but you just can't say stuff like that unless you're about to go and prove it. If it's a crime. But Dellinger went on to talk about to some of these people at Ole Miss, I think Walker Jones, who's over the Grove Collective, saying we are in no man's land. How are you in no man's land when you're getting paid $100,000 a year to be over a collective? It's not LSU's fault. It's not Texas A&M's fault. It's not Georgia or Alabama's fault that their collective and their donors and everybody a part of TAF or whatever you want to call it is giving money for NIL. It's none of their problems. And then you got Mississippi State, their president going out there, Mark Keenum, going out there and said, well, I tell you, Ross, the fairness in college football is really fading. There's never been fairness. What are you talking about? Fairness? Sports is the place where you go and play the game to see who is more superior than the other. That is what makes sports sports. Well, fairness is out the window. No shit, Sherlock. Thank you, Sherlock Holmes, for finding that massive clue. Maybe President Mark Keenum could be on an episode of True Detective now. Great investigative skills. Because that is not what sports is about. It always has been, it always will be me opposing my will on the person across from me. Me rallying with the other guys on my team to absolutely go out there for 60 minutes and kick your ass. That is what sports has always been about, right? Am I wrong here? Is that not what sports is about? Going out there and showing your dominance? Well, fairness is out the window now. Oh, no, what am I going to do? Well, poor baby, maybe you can get off your ass instead of like what you said to Ross Challenger and say, well, do we have to really go out there and raise money for NIL? Yeah, you do. There's a reason why since the year 2000, think about this, 5 times, I feel like I'm Booker T. You remember when Booker T used to go 5 time, 5 time, 5 time, and he hit the spinneroonie? 5 different SEC teams since 2000 have won and played in another national title. Florida, Auburn, LSU, Alabama, Georgia. All have played in and lost. And or maybe not Florida. I don't think Florida played and lost. I think they won. Didn't they won both of their national championships, didn't they? Tebow and Chris Leak. But all of them have played in multiple national championships. Those teams historically, Alabama, Florida, LSU, Auburn, Georgia, what do they all have in common? They normally kick everybody's ass in recruiting. Maybe not Auburn as much, but when it's right, Florida is going to roll. LSU per capita has one of the best nutrient-rich states of talent that you can find. Let's call him what it is. Nick Saban is literally the best college football coach of all time. And oh, by the way, look, if you haven't been paying attention to recruiting, the best state with the most talent in football has been Georgia. It's not been close. They have more 4-stars with no dominance outside of the University of Georgia really in that entire state. Want to know why it's not fair? Because things aren't created equally in this world, sweetheart. If you want to be competitive, I know this is a horrible situation, but you hired a head coach after the tragic loss of Mike Leach. What you did was you hired the defensive coordinator. Now, I know that you're in a bad spot. I get that. I don't want to condemn you doing what you think was right and you needed to do after the very tragic and sad and very fast passing of Mike Leach. But when you have Dan Mullen leaving, Dan, you go out there and get Joe Moorhead? That's what you thought winning would do. No, you're not spending the money. There's a price tag to winning national championships. There's a price tag to winning 10 games in a season. For LSU last year was paying a coach $100 million guaranteed. They're guaranteeing him that contract. What have you done? You got Eli Drinkwitz running out there. You have Nick Saban running out there. Nick Saban's starting to lose his grip a little bit. Let's call it what it is. Drinkwitz is probably about to get fired. Lane Kiffin is not going to win a national title at Ole Miss. You know who I don't really see out there complaining and bitching? Kirby Smart and Brian Kelly. The two teams and two guys that have won their respective divisions last year. I hadn't really heard Ryan Day talk about it. You know who else is kind of talking about it? And a lot of people make fun of him? Dabo. What's happened with him the last couple of years? Oh, they've taken a little bit of a step back. It's interesting to me. Very interesting to me. But what's really horrible for me is when you have a guy coming out with an article, and I think Ross does an amazing job with his stuff, but when you have somebody saying we are all money laundering, you have an obligation and a duty to report that person. Because how can you say that somebody's breaking the rules and breaking the law, yet you're going to complain that, oh, well, this team's able to do this, but this team's not? They're telling you what they're doing. And let me just tell you something. There's not anybody that told Ross Dellinger that they're laundering money. As someone from Italian descent, BS. I call a lot of BS on that shit. You lied. Ain't no AD out there or no head coach or no president going to tell somebody in the media we are laundering money. Come on, bro. You mean to tell me that somebody told the media outright that they're laundering money? Al Capone wouldn't even do that. Come on, bro. Like, get a little real with yourself. You got Walker Jones out here. Why didn't you go ask anybody at LSU? Oh, because they're providing this important resources that need to be able to have to win. You want to blame Texas A&M? You know what? There's one thing that I respect about A&M. You know what it is? It's the one thing I respect on them. It doesn't matter what they have to do money-wise to be able to try to win. Now, are their decisions really stupid? Maybe. But at least, you know, I am okay with somebody doing what they need to do to be better. What I'm not okay with is dudes like Lane Kiffin running out there saying, oh, no, it's not fair. No shit. Life is not fair. If you got kids around you, I just want to tell you something. You better tell your children right now, I love you to death, but life isn't fair. We all continue to complain about NIL, but not one person has come up with a proper solution. You said put a salary cap on it. You can't put a salary cap on it. You want to go through all the states in the SEC. Greg Sankey said, oh, well, we kind of want to talk to all the states and get things regulated. No, you can't do that, idiot. States and Republicans and Democrats can't get along now. What makes you think that they're going to be able to you're going to be able to dictate to the entire Southeast on NIL reform? You can't kick out LSU. You can't kick out these schools. He would never kick out LSU of the SEC because the state refuses to reform NIL. He's literally trying to strong arm the entire Southeast. You can't kick him out. If he kicks LSU out, he owes him a half a billion. He owes him a $500 million. Yes, please, God, kick us out. Because we'll eat your lunch and everything else that we do. All right. Need to talk a little bit about Oregon State. We'll probably do that a little bit after Sharief Ishaq joins us, because he's joining us in about a minute. But let me get to a couple of these comments. Cocky Bob says, that'll fix it. Get the government involved. That's all that they try to do ever. Brandon Reese says, I don't get why some of these coaches at big-time programs are complaining about NIL. Well, it's really just Saban. I mean, it's not – I mean, you got Lane out there. They're not a big program. Ole Miss is yes, they're in the SEC. But they're not bigger than Georgia, LSU, Alabama, A&M. They're not bigger than them. They're not bigger than them. Come on, man. Come on. Timmy Martin says Mississippi schools can't set up a collective. Legislatures won't have them. That's not true. They have one. Their collective, Walker Jones, is over the Ole Miss collective. It's called the Grove. That's literally not true. He's sourced in that article. Sources. Sources. All right, a couple more, then we'll get to Sharief Ishaq in just a moment. Charlie Viator says $2.5 million for Mulkey and a natty. Got to spend money to win, baby. Got to spend money to win. I know this man didn't. I know that. I know this man didn't. Look at what producer Pooh said. Tebow, Leak, Cooper, Hernandez. They really killed it. Really, bro? Really? Really? Hey. Pooh Bear, do you remember the Hernandez documentary and them all saying that Tim Tebow was the one that walked with Hernandez to the car before the shootout? Could you imagine what would have happened if Tebow Jesus would have taken a bullet? Whoo! Them South Baptists, baby. Whoo! They would have got up on your ass. They would have got up in your ass. He says, but did I lie? No, you didn't lie. What a crazy documentary. Now everybody, my buddies, some of my old teammates kept texting me today. He's like, Blake, did you see the American Gladiator or whatever it is? Documentary? And I hadn't seen it yet. I heard it was good. All right. Let's get to our buddy Sharief Ishaq next. WDSU, my man. So listen, we are 709 episodes into this thing. 709. The biggest questions that I've ever asked on this show come to our next guest, Sharief Ishaq. Nothing's ever been bigger to a guest. Not a single thing. We talk to him next. Don't go anywhere. Hit the like and share if you're with us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or radio, or wherever you listen on podcasts. Rate, review, and subscribe. Hit that share button. We're back next. Sorry about our good friends Carol False over at State Farm. Stay tuned. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol False and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol False has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements. The man, the myth, the legend, the most white person saying I've had all show, but Sharief Ishaq is with us. WDSU, buddy. How we doing?
Great. Not so great after watching the finale of Barry and Succession.
Okay. So listen, I said before we came on here, I was going to ask you the biggest questions I've ever asked any guest. What a weekend, huh?
I mean, I enjoyed the way Succession and Barry ended. I just loved it. The whole show was great. Everyone's like, man, how are they going to find a new show? Where are they going to get these new shows from? I'm like, damn it. You're right. But they always figure out a way to get us hooked back on another show. We got more shows coming, man. Don't worry, Blake. We got more shows coming. I don't like how they got rid of my guy, Hank. We love Hank.
Oh, God. Okay, so we're sitting there. Okay. Couch, 9:30. All right. We get to the scene and it happens. I can't take it. I couldn't take it. I wanted Barry ruined it for me when he went down. I
Yeah.
couldn't take it. I just, come on, man. If anybody's gonna stay, let it be NoHo Hank. I
No,
can't
Hank.
take.
You gotta be, bro. I mean, I'm okay with Gene Cousineau getting rid of Barry, but not
I'm okay
NoHo
with it
Hank.
too. Yeah, I mean, he
Not,
killed his girlfriend. I mean, like.
not NoHo. I mean, we look alike. I'm a little bit tanner. We're a little bit tanner than NoHo Hank, but man, you know what? At least he went out holding Crystal Ball's hand, man. I love NoHo Hank, man.
Oh God,
Needs a few Emmys for his role.
dude, he does. He does. That was an amazing performance. And then Succession. No, so listen, I knew HBO was going to mess something up, like because I've seen this. We're you got the missus, and she's addicted to what's the damn show with Jon Snow, Game of Thrones, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, come on. I was happy the way that Succession ended, to be honest with you.
Me too. I enjoyed watching Kendall Roy just looking. You know what I thought? I really thought he was going to jump in. I thought he was going to get a running head start and jump because he didn't get the company. That's what I thought how I was going to end it. I mean,
I kind of did too, but the way that it just ended, like Tom is spoiler alert. Tom, man, he played the game perfectly.
He sat back, man. He sat back. He sat back like Thatcher Hurd's about to sit back and start pumping strikes, baby. I think Thatcher is our Tom. Tom's our Thatcher. Whatever, you know what I'm saying.
That's how you've been in this business. That's a great segue into what we need to talk about. Let me ask you before we get to LSU on this. Tulane. Sharief, I mean, come on, bro. Like, what a run, huh?
Yeah, look, man, I grew up here in New Orleans and, they've been on a hiatus. I mean, 7-year hiatus. You're talking about, I went to LSU, and they haven't been to Omaha in 6 years. This program hasn't been to a postseason since 2016 when David Pierce was the head coach. They were just trying to get back into the postseason. And it was a 15 and 35, 15 and 39 regular season. Things weren't looking great. They only won back-to-back games once during a regular season.
Oh, man.
They only won one series all year. And I'm like, boy, this is brutal. And then they got hot at the right time. The beauty of baseball, getting hot at the right time. They swung the bats. Now, the ERA isn't pretty. One of the worst in the country at 7, but they pitched in spots at the right time and hit the entire conference tournament, man. They can hit.
What happened? Like, is there some kind of revelation? Like, did Jesus come down and touch this team? I mean, like, what happened?
I just think, man, I don't know. I can't explain it other than those bats just getting absolutely hot against, the teams that torched them the entire season. Now, there were points in time in the regular season where pitching really ruined it for them at the end of games, especially in the 8th and 9th innings. They could have won like 4 or 5 series, but they got touched up late in the games because of their pitching and it fell apart. But then, dude, man, I don't know. I was like, they're going to go 2-2 and the season's going to be over real quick. They're going to have 40-plus losses with only like 15, maybe 16 wins. They went 4-1. And they got a lot of local guys. Dylan Carmouche, U-High kid, who's probably going to pitch, who's going to probably pitch Friday. They have to pitch their ace. Whereas LSU doesn't really have to pitch their ace. And they got Brennan Lambert, a Catholic High kid. Brett Hebert, Catholic High kid. T.O. Banks, man, guy went 11-21 in that tournament. Had 3 home runs and 11 RBI. That they can hit. So that's what LSU has to watch for in this game Friday.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot here, but you go from a head coaching situation to a Tulane that, look, I mean, we're teetering on the brink of hot seat, if not fired here. To this man, legitimately, he's unfireable now. Like, I mean, he's done something that I think it's impressive. Let me ask you this. I know a lot of people are getting behind Tulane, but they are going against the beast, one of the beasts in the SEC. No way they're taking down LSU, right? I mean, like, Goliath, Magic going to run out a little bit, or am I crazy here?
No, man, look. It's going to be tough, man. It really is going to be tough for them to beat them. They're going to have probably a perfect game. Literally going to have a perfect game. You're going to hope that Thatcher Hurd, who I'm thinking will start Friday, right?
I agree with you.
Thatcher hangs a lot of pitches. LSU's bats are cold, or they go like they did in an SEC tournament, 3 for 20 with runners in scoring position, and they barely lost that game. Just think about it. If they, go 5 of 18, they're going to win. If they go 5 of 18 with runners in scoring position and they don't have a great pitching performance, they're going to probably win. But
I literally said the same exact thing you did. I said if they go 5 of 18, they won. We talked about that on Monday.
And I'm okay with how the SEC tournament went. I'm glad they got out early. Literally a lot of guys in the bullpen. You want to see what Thatcher can do, Ty could do, Nate could do, and Riley. You saw some guys, Javen. You saw a lot of guys that he had a plan. He had a plan going into that. They were on the road for quite a few days. He wanted to let a couple guys get in there, get a little taste of what I think is the toughest, tournament is the SEC tournament. It's much tougher there than it will be the rest of the way. You get those pitchers in there because, we're tweeting a lot, Blake. We're tweeting a lot about how bad the bullpen is. There's no hiding it. The ERA isn't great. It hasn't been good. A lot of walks. They did pretty well for the most part.
Well, giving up 2 hits in 2 games out of that bullpen, look, and the take's not wrong, right? Like if you went into the SEC tournament not wanting to see what your bullpen could do in a tournament-like situation, you would have been crazy. But you just got great performances by Ackenhausen. You got great performances. A great performance by Cooper. And look, it kind of fell off a little bit down the stretch there, but you just, like you mentioned, though, at some point your bats have to step up, right? Like Arkansas's did in that 5th. You saw what Texas A&M did. They got hot there at the end. I agree with you. So what did you think of LSU's regional overall? Now, it was reported today that both starting pitchers, their ace and their number 2 guy at Oregon State, they're out for the season. Am I crazy to think, like, if you don't get out of this regional, it's going to be pretty bad, right? Like, I mean, that'd be a pretty bad look, would it not?
It would be pretty ugly. It would be beyond bad if you don't get out of your own regional. Look, let's see. It's been 6 years. You lost last year at Southern Miss. Tennessee, I understand, super regional there. It's hard to win.
You had hosted a regional here since 19, man.
Right.
I mean, like, it's been a minute.
And you had no business, and I think they'd tell you the players that were on that team had no business losing to a bad Florida State team in that super regional.
No doubt.
You cannot have that this time. I understand baseball is a quirky sport. Anything could happen, but you were number 1 for pretty much the entire season until the final 3 weeks, if you include the SEC tournament. Your team is built to go to Omaha and win, right? If it's just a hitting, it's Paul Skeens and a solid number 2 pitcher. You're already built to at least get to Omaha.
Yeah, I don't look. I think if Kentucky gets there, I think West Virginia's been a little hot. Maybe something quirky can happen, like you mentioned. But you're just such in a good position right now that, look, until you got to Omaha, tell me if you think that I'm crazy here. There's not a team that you're going to face that talent-wise you don't trample over. Every team you're going to face in either out of the Kentucky region or the region you're in, you are talent-wise, you are light years better than these teams.
Not even close. You're right. I think the team that I would watch out for, you said them, West Virginia. I'd watch out for West Virginia if they get through. And I wouldn't. Kentucky should not feel safe at home going against West Virginia. They can pound. They can pound.
I'm going to tell you. So everybody's starting to make their picks. You know who I picked out of that regional was West Virginia.
It's a smart pick. A lot of people picking them. It's a smart move by you to pick them.
I mean, I like. I forget Kentucky's last coach. Coach's last name starts with an M, but I like him. He's always like, it looks like it's fun to play baseball for him.
Oh, Mangione,
yeah. Like, it looks like it's fun to play baseball for him. Shit, them boys up there in Mountain Country going to come down here and they're going to swing it a little bit. So,
I watched a few of their games, not many, but the games I watched, they were tanking the ball.
They were tanking, man.
They could tank.
Now they can't pitch worth the damn, but them dudes can really hit. Let me ask you this: I know that this is a crazy question, but you're on Twitter a lot. I'm on Twitter a lot when these games are going on. I'm not worried about Dylan Cruz. I think he finds it. I mean, he's been finding it. Like everybody's like, oh, he's in a slump. I'm like, guys, in the last 6 games, he literally has 3 multi-hit games. Like, I mean, what do we? He's still hovering around 420. You're not worried about Dylan Cruz and what the talk is around him, right?
No, which player doesn't go through a slump? I'm sorry he didn't hit 500. He only hit 420 for the season, which is I think 7th in the nation if I'm correct. It's a top 10 regardless. First in the SEC, and
Right.
first in on base percentage, walks, runs. I mean, gosh, I wish I could go in a slump and hit 420. I mean, I think half these players in the country would wish they can hit 420 and be called in a slump, but yeah, it happens. It happens. He had a 2.5 week slump. It's going to happen. He's not going to hit 520, and that was never going to happen.
Yeah, and look, I just don't ever worry about Cruz. Now, has he come up in some crucial spots and while he's struggling, yes, but we forget about all the times that when we needed him. Tennessee, you were talking about that super regional leading off with a home run. Listen, he's come up clutch a lot of times when you've needed him too. Ty Floyd, what's your thoughts on Ty Floyd, man? He hadn't looked too bad over the last couple starts. What you think about Ty Floyd?
Give me the Ty Floyd that you've been getting the last few starts. All right,
You're
guy who could locate. That's the same for any pitcher. It's all about location. And man, don't walk any batters. Don't give me the 4-pitch walks. That's the ones that are the most frustrating. You come out, you're right, you don't have the control, and you walk a batter in 4 pitches. Don't hit any batters. Look, I'm asking all your pitchers to be perfect. It's not realistic, but compete. Get the outs. You got, just get the outs, man. If you're up 6-2, don't walk anybody.
Right. Throw strikes.
Throw strikes. I'm not saying lob a 95-mile-an-hour fastball right over the heart of the plate. Make them work. Make the batter work. At least make it feasible to get some outs. Don't walk guys. I think, the old saying, when you walk a leadoff batter, he's going to come around and score like 75, 77% of the time. Don't do it. Just don't walk any batters.
I do agree. That's my biggest.
He's electric, man.
Well, it's my biggest pet peeve, right? Like, and I could sit here and talk about Christian Little. Like, Christian Little walked 6 guys in 1 inning. Like, how long did you think it was going to take you? Like, how long should it have taken you to see that he didn't have it? And I think that you still need him. Sharief, like, I think that you still need him. So
I'm interested to see the postseason roster, the final roster. I'm see who's actually
he's on it.
If he's on it, who's not on it, who's on it, because I think that the pitching is going to be the one that you need most of. But who is it that you can trust in the postseason is what I want to see. Is like, what are those final few names that are going to be on there that you're actually going to go out there and put in a bump that you can trust and need in situations like this, because you're not going to score. I could be wrong. You're not going to score 12 to 15 runs a game. But if listen, Blake, if you give me 8 runs in a postseason, that should be enough for anyone to win.
Sharief, if they would have gotten 8 runs in the SEC tournament, now I know it's the SEC tournament, if you would have gotten 8 runs in a lot of your games, you were going to win.
Sure.
Right? Okay. Even this year, it was those small games like Kentucky on a Saturday where you get, Braden Jobert kind of loses the ball and they, it's a double, a bases clearing double. And when, 3 guys were on. So it's a small thing. So let me ask you one more baseball thing, because I do want to talk a little Saints and LSU football with you. But prediction for this weekend, you think LSU could sweep it out? You think
3-0? 3-0. I'm everyone's going to call me, oh, you're an LSU homer because you went to LSU. I'll tell you if LSU's going to lose. There are many times where I thought, you know what, I actually picked them to lose the Arkansas series. I thought they would lose that series. To be quite honest with you, that was another series in there. I was like, South Carolina. I was like, they're going to lose that series. I thought they were going to lose both games.
You're a Gavin Dugas grand slam away from getting 0-2.
Well, I'm not afraid to pick them to lose just because I went there. I mean, but baseball is hard to pick. But yes, you are leaps and bounds better than all 3 of the teams that are in your region. You should go 3-0.
All right, I'm going to transition with you right quick. You see the hat I'm wearing because I had to show support. I got ripped alive last night by Saints fans. Okay. I got ripped alive.
I could only imagine what you did.
What's John Gruden really doing in New Orleans?
He's just literally helping smooth out the transition for Derek Carr. They went through the checks and balances. No one really disagreed with it. Dennis Allen, they went through all the checks. They said they were fine with it. They said there was no reason for them not to do it. If it helps out their offense, if they're going to learn anything, because they bring in a lot of coaches and analysts, a lot through a lot of all seasons,
Right.
And then, for Derek Carr, if this is an important signing, Blake, You know how they've been saying they need to find that guy at quarterback, make things happen with that offense. If you're gonna bring in Gruden, if you feel like it's okay, I guess they're gonna do it. They don't care what we think and say about why he got fired because of the controversial emails. They're not signing him to be the coach. They're in there to bring him in just to pick his brain about the West Coast offense they ran with Derek Carr whenever he was the head coach.
So this is what I said last night. The optics, throw them out, even though they are horrendous.
Right.
Okay, they are catastrophically horrible. Just from a football perspective, though, I mean, you have an OC that was in a West Coast guy's offense. Like, other than terminology, I mean, look, you have a tree with John Gruden and Sean Payton on it. They are on that same coaching tree. Derek even came out 3 weeks ago and said a lot of the same vernacular that we ran with Gruden is the same with Pete Carmichael. So my question was, okay, well then what needs to be learned? And look, I guess it's just because it's Gruden and I'm am not welcome anymore while Pete Carmichael's the OC in New Orleans. But I'm just not a really big fan of him. Okay. And Sharief, that's what makes it for me such a big deal. It's like, man, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. And I hope that I am wrong.
Hey, look, if it works out on the field during the season, no one's gonna care.
I will come back on this show and say I was wrong. It doesn't bother me. But
I mean, no one says there aren't going to be any bumps, right? There are going to be bumps in the road with this offense. Whether it's because they still have to find a way to transition with he and the receivers, the running backs. Will Alvin be there to start the season? How many games if he gets suspended? Because it seems like the suspension is looming. Who goes down? Who doesn't go down? Will it take them half the season before they actually gel? You hope it doesn't. And you're probably hope to say I was wrong. I was wrong, everybody.
Sharief, I stole this from Colin Cowherd, okay? Because people said, that I don't think that I'm wrong. For a year and a half, I did a segment where I'm right, where I'm wrong. And I would go down the list where I'm right and where I'm wrong, okay? I pray to sweet baby Jesus above that I am wrong on that, okay? Like, it doesn't benefit me any way for me to be right on that. It makes it wrong. There's nothing to, I want him to succeed. All right, let me ask you this. Last thing on the Saints, I have one LSU football question. Thank you for joining us.
Whatever. You can ask me as many as you want. Go ahead.
Michael Thomas.
Not here. He's not here right now. He's not here right now for OTAs. And do I think I think I know where you're going. Do I think he's going to be healthy again, right? Do I think he can be productive again?
Well, no, I wasn't going to ask about the health. I was going to ask, when is he going to show up? That was really my question, because I know about the health thing. I mean, like, everybody's like, oh, he's back. Brother, you're not even showing up.
Well, he won't. Maybe mandatory mini camps in 2 weeks. Maybe mandatory mini camp, but I doubt that. I don't think he'll be here until training camp. My gut tells me, just like last year, training camp. He was there for day one and ready to roll, out there practicing. Looked good, man, during training camp. Looked good for that first game against the Falcons. Then, bam. Yeah. No one's asking him to be 2019 Michael Thomas. I think everyone thinks that, like, oh, he can be that, or they're going to be frustrated when he's not that. That's not what you're getting. You're not getting the guy with 149 receptions. Sorry, that's over. I think we all have to come to realization, if you can get you 75 receptions, and
that's all I'm asking for. That's all I'm asking for.
Actually, I think a lot of people are saying, hey, can you just stay healthy and play?
Yeah, well, true. I mean, like, look, Sharief, even if it's 10 games, even if it's 10, give me something. Like, the best ability is availability. And my man's saying, look, I went to a coach's convention about 5 years ago. Nick Saban was the guest speaker. And look, I can hate him as much as I want. The man's forgot more about football than I will ever know. You know what he told me? He goes, I tell every freshman that comes in, the best ability is availability. And if you don't want to be here, no hard feelings, hit the door. Hit the door. And that's just a question I have. All right, last one for you, and I'll get you out of here. Brian Kelly. You think they could? You think they can win the West again? You think you think they're going the whole way? What are we thinking here?
Last year snuck up on us, right? I didn't see that coming.
I didn't see
coming
that
last
either.
year. Everyone would be lying if they said they saw that coming last year. I didn't see that coming. Now because of that, the expectations are it has to happen, and you have to go beyond that and get into the playoff.
Right.
Schedule's favorable, man. It really is favorable. I mean, I feel like they can get into the playoff. I do, man. There are going to be a couple games. May not be the Alabama game. Maybe another game. Might be the Florida game. Could be the Auburn game.
Here's an interesting stat for you. You ready? Since 2000, only 2 SEC teams have won back-to-back road games in conference. 2019 LSU and 2022 Georgia. LSU is a back-to-back road game this year. They go to Missouri.
God, please don't lose that game again.
Please, God.
Not
Sweet Jesus.
Not that game, man. It was I couldn't believe we lost to them in 2020.
I can.
Can you?
Yeah, because you're going to blame Bo Pelini for running man-to-man coverage, and then the next year we found out, oh, no, it was really Orgeron. It's the same defense. So, yeah, I can a little bit now that we look back on it, I don't know. All right. I got to tell you this. I do got to tell you this. My mother, when she found out you were coming on the show today, lost her shizite. You hear me? She loves you. She loves you.
That's awesome. I feel loved. I love to feel loved.
She said, she's like, oh, he's coming on. He's coming on the show like tonight. Oh my God, I'm going to be there. So there you go. My mom doesn't comment, but then you come on the show and then here she is. How about that?
Tell Mama Rufino I love her. Thank you. What is your mom's name?
Her nickname is Cookie, so we all call her Cookie.
Oh, she followed me on Twitter. Tell her thank you, Cookie. Appreciate the follow. Yes, she did. Now I didn't know who that was. I didn't know if that was maybe your wife. I had no idea who. I saw the last name. I thought maybe it was like your wife.
No, my mom.
Mom's.
Massive fan. Yeah, man.
Oh man, thank you so much, Mom. I appreciate the follow. Thank you.
I know. So if you see her in public and she wants to get a selfie, just know she's good people.
All right, man. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yes. Hank will give her a selfie. New Orleans Hank will give you a selfie.
I love it. Sharief, thank you so much for joining us. Tell everybody where they can get you. I know that everybody knows you were WDSU, but just in case, tell them where they can catch everything that you're doing, brother.
You can see Blake and I argue and fight with people on Twitter at Sharief WDSU. I'm on WDSU 4, 5, 6, and 10 on the days that I'm working, which I feel like I work a lot, except for Mondays and Tuesdays, which is channel 6 here in New Orleans, 7 on cable, 6 if you don't have cable. But yes, you can see us online to it, WDSU.com.
You know what's interesting? When I was growing up as a kid, we got Baton Rouge and New Orleans. One TV had on DSU, the other one had on like somewhere out of Baton Rouge. It's an interesting place to live, man.
Now you can just watch it on your phone.
No, it's true. Thank you so much, buddy. We'll talk soon.
All right, Blake. See you on Twitter.
All right, that's Sharief Ishaq, the man, the myth, the legend himself. Let's talk about our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. We return, then we're going to talk a little bit, and we're going to go out of here. Stay with us. By the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Whether you've been injured in an accident, you're preparing for a future with your estate planning, you're getting ready to close in on a real estate deal, or you're about to welcome a new addition through adoption into your family, or you're facing criminal charges, you need very experienced attorneys, and that is what the Drake Williams Law Firm will be able to do for you in navigating the legal system. The door to their cozy office in historic downtown Ponchatoula has been open since 1981. They have helped thousands and thousands of Louisiana families and individuals win cases, close on real estate deals, and regain that peace of mind. Their lawyers over at the Drake Williams Law Firm, Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vicnair, are very determined, compassionate, and dedicated to their craft. It's the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by. There we are. I was wondering why y'all couldn't hear me. Ryan says another great interview. Yeah, man, Sharief's the man. Call the cat, my man. What's happening, brother? Says Sharief is the man. That he is. That he is. Paul Sub Martin says we're on the road 4 of the first 6 games. I believe we'll be used to it by then when it comes to it. Very good point. Yeah, I mean the last part of the season, man, you're home a lot. I think what Paul Sub, you're home on 5 of the last 6, right? The only game you have on the road is Alabama. Bart Smokey, what's up, bud? Says Brady Neal has a bad back, will not play this year. Bart, was that from Jay's coach's show today? Was that from Jay's coach's show today? Stinks, man. But look, I don't mean this in the wrong way. You kind of don't really need him. You kind of don't really need him, right? Like, I mean, Hayne Travinsky and Alex Milazzo being back, you know, you just really don't need him like maybe you once did. So we'll see. All right, guys, we'll see y'all tomorrow, I think. Till then, peace out, Girl Scouts.